Have you ever had one of those mornings where you feel so ready to change your life? Maybe you watched a motivational video or read a quote that gave you goosebumps. You're fired up. You're thinking, this is it. Today, I'm gonna do everything right. But then it's 3 p.m. You're tired. You've scrolled Instagram for 20 minutes. That to-do list, still untouched. And now instead of feeling inspired, you feel kind of guilty. Sound familiar? Trust me, I've been there more times than I can count. Here's what I realized. Motivation is like a sugar rush. It feels amazing for a moment, but it doesn't last. And the worst part? We blame ourselves when it fades. We think we're lazy or broken. But the truth is, you don't have a motivation problem. You have a system problem. See, motivation is emotional. It's temporary. But systems don't care how you feel. They run whether you're tired, bored, or even a little stressed out. Think about it. You don't wake up every day needing motivation to brush your teeth, right? It's just part of your routine. You do it automatically. What if your goals, your habits, could feel that automatic? That's exactly what happened to me when I stopped relying on hype and started building tiny systems into my day. And the tools I used? Books. But not just any books. Today I'm going to share 7 books that completely changed the way I approach progress. These books didn't just give me aha moments, they gave me real-life actions I still use. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're done starting strong and stopping 2 weeks later, this video is for you. Let's stop chasing motivation and start building real momentum. So like I said, motivation fades. That's where I hit a wall, over and over. I had big dreams. I'd feel super motivated on Monday morning. New week, new me, right? I'd write a long to-do list, drink my coffee, play some motivational music, and boom, ready to conquer the world. But by Wednesday, I was tired, unfocused, scrolling my phone again. And that to-do list? Still half full. Ever felt that? You start strong, but finishing feels impossible? That's when I read something from a Stanford study that changed everything. It said, people who rely on motivation alone usually quit. But people who build systems, simple repeatable routines, are the ones who stick with it. It finally clicked for me. You know why systems work better than motivation? Because motivation is a feeling, and feelings change. But a system is a habit. A system doesn't ask how you feel, it just runs. Think about it. You don't brush your teeth because you're motivated every morning. You do it because it's automatic. You don't need inspiration to make your morning coffee, you just do it. That's what systems are. They're small routines that run your life even when you're tired, sad, or lazy. I asked myself, what if I stop chasing motivation and just build routines that take over, no matter what? That one question opened a whole new world. Instead of waiting to feel ready, I built systems, tiny habits, daily check-ins, simple steps I could repeat. And you know where I learned that? From a few powerful books that didn't just motivate me for a day. They gave me a structure for real change. So now, I want to share 7 of those books with you. They help me move from stuck to steady, and they can help you too. Let's jump into book 1. Book 1. Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book didn't just inspire me, it changed how I see myself. Atomic Habits by James Clear teaches one big idea. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. At first I didn't really get it. I thought I needed to dream bigger, push harder. But turns out, what I really needed was to go smaller, much smaller. So I tried something simple. I told myself, just write 1 sentence a day. Not a full page. Not a chapter. Just 1 little sentence. It felt silly at first. Like, how is this going to help? But here's what happened. After a week, I started writing 2 sentences. Then 3. Then suddenly, I found myself writing full paragraphs, without forcing myself. That tiny habit became my anchor. It told my brain, hey, you're the kind of person who writes. And from there, everything else grew. James Clear explains this so well. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. 1 sentence equals a vote for being a writer. 1 push-up equals a vote for being healthy. 1 book page equals a vote for being a reader. You don't need to change your life overnight. You just need to show up consistently, even if it's tiny. So let me ask you, what's one habit you can start today that feels so small, it's almost funny? Drinking 1 glass of water? Stretching for 2 minutes? Journaling 1 line? Start there. Do it for 7 days. Not to be perfect, but to build momentum. Trust me, small wins add up. That's how habits stick. And when habits stick, your life starts to shift, almost without trying. That's the magic of Atomic Habits. Book 2. Deep Work by Cal Newport. So after I learned to build habits with Atomic Habits, I realized something else. Even with good habits, I was still distracted all the time. I'd sit down to write. But then I'd check my phone. start a task, and suddenly I'm watching a video about penguins or reading 5 emails that could have waited. You know the feeling, right? Then I picked up Deep Work by Cal Newport, and it hit me like a truck. This book taught me something powerful. In today's world, your ability to focus without distractions is a superpower. Cal calls it deep work, long focus time where you're doing your most meaningful work with no interruptions. I decided to try it. No notifications, no music, no jumping between tabs. I set a timer for 60 minutes. Just one task, just me and my brain. At first, it was hard. My mind kept itching to check things, but around day 3, something clicked. I wasn't just working better, I was working faster. What used to take me 4 hours, I could now finish in 2. The best part? I felt calmer, clearer, proud of what I finished. Cal explains, shallow work keeps us busy, but deep work moves us forward. That's the stuff that builds careers, skills, and confidence. So I want to ask you something real. When was the last time you worked for 1 full hour, with no phone, no email, no multitasking? If it's been a while, don't worry. Just try it once this week. Pick one task. Set a 60-minute timer. Silence your phone. Close your tabs. Dive in. You'll be surprised at what your brain can do when it's not constantly switching gears. Once you get a taste of deep work, you'll start protecting your focus like it's gold. Because it is. So after learning how to focus deeply with deep work, I noticed something else. Even during my focus time, I was often working on the wrong thing. I was busy, but not always productive. That's when I read The One Thing by Gary Keller, and it honestly flipped my mornings upside down. Gary asks a powerful question: what's the one thing I can do, such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Sounds simple, right? But wow, it hits hard. I used to start my days with a massive to-do list, like 15 plus things. I'd bounce from task to task, constantly switching gears. And by the end of the day, I still felt like I hadn't really made progress. But when I applied this one thing mindset, something changed. Now every morning I ask myself just one question: if I could only do one thing today that actually matters, what would it be? And then I do that first. Sometimes it's writing a tough email. Sometimes it's planning a big project. Sometimes, honestly, it's just resting, because that's what I truly need. The result? I stopped feeling behind. I started ending my days feeling accomplished, even if I only finished that one task. Because it was the right task. This book doesn't just simplify your to-do list. It simplifies your brain. You stop chasing 100 things and start focusing your energy where it matters. So let me ask you, what's your one thing today? The thing that, if you do it, everything else becomes easier? Here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before anything else, write down one priority. Just one. Then protect it like it matters. Because it does. So once I started focusing on the one thing each day, I realized I needed space to actually think about what that one thing even was. But my mornings? Total chaos. I'd hit snooze 3 times, scroll on my phone, then rush into the day with no direction. Sound familiar? That's when I picked up The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. And before you panic, no, I don't wake up at 5 a.m. every day like a Navy SEAL. But I did start waking up just 20 minutes earlier. And that tiny shift? It changed everything. Here's what I did with those 20 minutes. A little stretching. A quick journal entry. Some deep breathing. Not a 2-hour power routine. Not a cold plunge and green juice. Just 20 minutes of stillness before the world started yelling for my attention. And guess what happened? My mornings stopped feeling rushed. I didn't check my phone first thing. I felt in control even before breakfast. It's wild how much difference 20 quiet minutes can make. They gave me clarity, calm, and space to choose my one thing with intention. And here's the truth. You don't need to be in some elite 5 a.m. club. You just need to protect some you time before the noise begins. So let me ask you, how do your mornings feel right now? Are they peaceful or panic? Here's your 5-day challenge. Wake up just 20 minutes earlier. No pressure, no rules. Use that time for you. Read, stretch, think, see how it feels. After giving myself those calm mornings with just 20 minutes of stillness, I started noticing something strange. Even with that extra clarity, I still felt pulled in 10 different directions. I was trying to be everywhere, do everything, say yes to everyone. And let me tell you, it was exhausting. Then came this book, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. It introduced me to one life-changing idea. If it's not a clear yes, it's a clear no. At first I thought saying no made me selfish or lazy. But this book flipped that idea. It said, saying no isn't a weakness, it's how you protect your energy for what really matters. So I started cutting out the noise. I stopped saying yes to every quick catch-up meeting. I paused on side projects that didn't light me up. And I finally gave myself permission to stop scrolling just because I was bored. It was like clearing clutter from my schedule, and suddenly, I could breathe again. Let me ask you something. What's one thing you're doing right now that you really don't need to? It might be a habit, a task, or even a relationship that drains you. Here's a gentle challenge. Pick one thing and let it go this week. Say no with kindness. Cancel something small. You're not quitting, you're choosing. Because here's the secret. Every time you say no to something unimportant, you're saying yes to something meaningful. Essentialism isn't about doing less just to be lazy. It's about doing less so you can give more to what really counts. Once I started saying no to what didn't matter, I had more space, more time, but also no excuses. I couldn't hide behind "I'm too busy" anymore. It was time to face the real challenge, sticking with things, even when I didn't feel like it. That's when I picked up a book that seriously changed my mindset. Grit by Angela Duckworth. Here's the simple truth she shares. Success doesn't come from talent. It comes from staying in the game. This hit me hard, because I used to be the kind of person who quit early. If something didn't come easy, I'd convince myself, maybe I'm just not good at this. Sound familiar? Then I started reading about top athletes, writers, and leaders. They weren't the smartest. They weren't the most gifted. They were just the ones who didn't give up. So I made a tiny promise to myself. Work out at home 4 times a week. No fancy gym. No pressure to post about it. Just show up. Consistently. And you know what? Some days were great. Some were awful. But I didn't skip. Over time, that boring little routine, it made me stronger. Physically, yes, but also mentally. I started showing up in other areas of life with the same energy. That's what grit is. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's trying again even after a boring day, a bad week, or a slow start. Let me ask you this. What's one goal that you've almost given up on? Is it writing? Starting a side hustle? Learning a skill? Getting healthy? Here's your reminder. It's okay to feel tired, but don't quit. Pick one thing you care about and just don't stop. Even if progress feels invisible now, you're building something powerful. Grit. And once you start showing up with that kind of grit, you don't just survive tough seasons, you grow through them. So after learning how to stick with hard things through grit, I started noticing something else. Even with discipline, I kept falling into the same habits, like picking up my phone at night when I wanted to sleep earlier. It wasn't about willpower anymore, it was about automatic behavior. That's when the power of habit clicked. This book completely changed how I saw my day. It says every habit has a cue, a routine, and a reward. It's like a loop. And once you learn to spot the loop, you can change it. Let me give you an example. My cue, getting into bed. My routine, scrolling Instagram for 45 minutes. My reward, that little hit of fun or distraction before sleep. But here's the problem, I'd wake up tired and cranky, so I swapped the routine. Now when I get into bed, I take a 10-minute walk around the block before I lie down. Same cue. But the new routine gave me a better reward, calmness, and I sleep better now. This shift wasn't about willpower. I didn't force myself to stop scrolling, I replaced the habit with something better. And that's the key lesson. You don't break habits by fighting them. You change them by rewriting the loop. So here's a simple challenge for you. Pick one habit you want to improve. Step 1. What's the cue? When does it happen? Step 2. What's the reward? What are you really getting from it? Step 3. Swap the routine for something healthier, but keep the same cue and reward. Try this for 1 week. Just one habit loop. Because when you start changing one habit, others begin to follow. And that's how momentum builds. Not from motivation but from better systems. Let's keep it simple. This video wasn't just about reading books. It was about using books to change your habits and your life. We started by talking about something we've all felt. That burst of motivation in the morning that's gone by the afternoon. Motivation is great, but it doesn't last. That's why we need systems. Systems don't rely on how we feel. They help us keep going, even when we're tired, distracted, or not in the mood. Then, we looked at 7 amazing books that showed how to build those systems. Atomic Habits taught us that tiny actions done daily shape who we become. Deep Work reminded us to protect our focus and stop letting distractions win. The One Thing showed us how to stop doing everything and focus on what matters most. The 5 a.m. Club gave us the power of calm, quiet mornings. Just 20 minutes can shift your whole day. Essentialism taught us to say no more often, so we can protect our time and energy. Grit reminded us that success isn't about talent, it's about showing up, even when it's hard. The power of habit showed us how to change the loop, so new routines feel natural. Now here's the key point. You don't have to change everything at once. That just leads to burnout. Instead, pick one thing. One small habit. One book. One idea. Try it for 7 days. Or even just 1 day. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for consistent. You're not lazy. You don't need more motivation. You just need the right tools. And that's what these books offer. So as you leave this video, ask yourself, what's one habit I can try this week? What's one thing I can say no to so I can say yes to what matters? You've got this. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Keep building. Keep reading. And trust that even small steps, taken daily, can lead to something amazing. Thanks for being here. If this video gave you even one useful idea, hit that like button. It really helps more people find this kind of content. And if you want more book wisdom that actually fits your real life, the kind that's simple, clear, and helps you grow, go ahead and subscribe to Books Ahead. We're all about turning powerful books into real habits you can use. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 books stood out the most? Which habit, system, or mindset are you ready to try this week? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them all and I reply to as many as I can. And here's something cool, I've linked full easy to follow video summaries for each of the books mentioned today in the description below. So if you're curious or want a quick refresher, they're just one click away. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to feel super motivated. You just need to start, one tiny habit at a time. Thanks for watching. Keep reading, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.